What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today, I'm going to review last night's clash against Geelong at Simmons Stadium. So, basically, we were robbed. It's the best way to put it. And yet, sure, you can argue that we blew some opportunities. And I've said it pretty much every week. And last night, again, we didn't take our opportunities. We should have blown, well, not blown, that's the wrong word. Should have put the game in a safe position if we kicked a couple of goals that we should have in that last quarter. One, most notably, was Westhoff very early in that last quarter, where he decided to, I don't know what goes through that bloke's brain. He took the mark, he was on, I don't know, 45, 50 degree angle. He's probably safer taking a set shot, going back and having a straight kick, than turning around and kicking a banana. That, by the way, did not make the distance. It bounced its way through. Then the next one was Trengove. Just missing that one. Now, Trengove's not the best kick in the team, that's for sure. So, he can be excused for that. That's fine. I'm more than happy to deal with that. The other one was the most infamous incident of the night, which was the Charlie Dixon fiasco. Now, in my personal opinion, I always thought the 30 seconds started when you stood up. When you got onto your feet and you walked back, that's when your 30 seconds started. That's fine. If it's not, okay. On the flip side, yes, I don't know what Charlie was thinking. He should have kicked for goal earlier. I mean, yeah, you're taking time off the clock, but please, know your situation a bit better, know your surroundings, know what's going on. It's not entirely his fault. Why didn't the players let him know as well? Come on, Charlie. Move it along a bit. The umpire yelled it out. Obviously, the atmosphere was a bit loud, so he may have not have heard it. But the one thing that gets me is that decision is never called. 99% of the time, actually, you know what? 99.9% of the time, players get leniency. 34 seconds I counted. I watched the last 2 minutes a few times. 34 seconds. I've seen players take 40 because the umpire probably isn't counting. No one looks at the clock on the scoreboard besides the fans inside the stadium. This is going to be a very long video if we continue on. But there's one thing I want to show you, and that's this picture right here. Now, to me, that's less than 10 metres. That Geelong player next to Charlie Dixon is less than 10 metres. In fact, it looks to me like it's less than 5 metres. And that was the old rule, 5 metres. Sure, you can argue he was running to go get Westhoff, but he's not nowhere near Westhoff, is he? No. No, he's not doing anything. Westhoff's 10 metres away from him. Westhoff's the closest Port player there, and Geelong player's just running around Charlie, strutting his stuff, taking as much time as he wants, and that doesn't get paid. And what happens? What infuriates me is they go down the other end and they kick a goal. Yep, sure, that part of the game lost us. That's what lost us the game, because Charlie, no doubt, probably would have gone back and kicked the goal, put us 8 points ahead with a couple of minutes to go. That's 2 goals they need, and in the type of game it was, Geelong would have got that and Port would have won. What can you do? It's game over now. We can all figure out. But the umpires last night, that was not the only shit decision they made as well. Robbie Gray is still being held now. Robbie Gray was being held by Jed Buse for about a good 10 minutes. He's probably still being held now on his way back home. It's quite funny though. It's just quite funny. And then, you know, the Mighty Ducks of Joel Selwood and his brother, who continually to amaze me. People praise him, and I mean, no doubt, Joel Selwood's a great leader and great player, and you know we rate him very highly. But come on, mate, you're not going to get any respect outside of Victoria when you're and your opposition either. If you keep going like this, doing a bit of dance moves to get a free kick, that's not courageous. That's not bravery. That's just pure bullshit that we have to deal with because the Victorian umpires show you give you favoritism because you know you like that. You only see that on music video clips, mate. You don't see that in footy. If you want to keep ducking and weaving and faking, there's a game called soccer. Go play that because that's complete shit. So, and I can sit here, be a sourpuss and all that, and I'll, you know, can be disappointed. But what gets me now is we're 5-4, back in the pack a little bit. Yeah, we've got one extra game up our sleeve to play, but this now makes our next month crucial. We have to win the next. I'm putting it here now. Look, we can play week to week. Look at every game week to week as it comes. But for me, this month is crucial. We play Hawthorn, Essendon, Collingwood, and Brisbane. Brisbane before Collingwood, sorry. That's our next month. Two of them at home, obviously, Hawthorn and Brisbane. We have to win. That will take us to 9-4, and that will help us. This is going to be a very long video, and I do apologise for that, but stick with me. We're going to get through the rest of it. So, we deserved to win last night. It's no doubt about it, but it's just frustrating when it doesn't go your way. And I think everyone's team's fans will know how we feel. And, you know, they can all beat up on us. But you know what? When it comes to your team, you're going to feel the same way if you get screwed over by a crap decision. And I hope the umpires continue that trend through now. If the player if he takes his full 30 seconds and doesn't get called play on this weekend, last night it's going to become... They're going to hit up that They're going to hit on that rule. Can't speak now. Getting too fired up. They're going to hit on that rule and point out that decision last night and say, well, you're going to pay that every week now. It's the same thing as that deliberate rush behind rule. Same thing as deliberate out of bounds. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. It's frustrating, that's for sure. But anyway, what can you say, eh? What can you say? I'm going to go through a couple more things now quickly before we move on to the things I learned and the votes from myself. Aaron Young last night came into the side, and for me, kicked a goal, 11 possessions. You know, it wasn't a big game for any of the Port players, really, besides Pollock and Ollie, in terms of possession-wise. But the thing that got me is he's come in to be that pressure forward, the same as what Jarman Impey is. And sure, Jarman Impey had only 9-10 disposals, but the bloke had 3 or 4 tackles and did his part. Aaron Young last night had a big, fat 0. No tackles from a small forward is deplorable in a game like last night where it was a high tackling, high pressure game, and when you need people to do a few tackles, do a few pressure acts, you look to guys like him to do so, and he didn't do one tackle. And for me, him coming in is a bit of a mystery because you've got players like Jesse Palmer, Angus Monfries, even if you want to have a tall, Billy Frampton. And sure you do Wingard for Aaron Young, you know. It's fine, you know, that's the one change. But Monfries for me should have come in last night. Aaron Young was a very disappointing game from him. And I think that he probably won't get dropped because that's the way Ken Hinkley works. He doesn't drop players after coming in after one game. But Angus Monfries plays for me next week. We need his experience and we need his pressure because he's fantastic around the ball and his sample form is on point at the moment, and you don't want to ruin that. If he keeps playing too long, he's eventually going to drop off and lose a bit of confidence. So he has to come in for me next week. Moving on to some of the players. SPP last night, I thought his grunt and his aggression was absolutely fantastic. And he was probably one of our better players last night, to be honest. He feeds off Paddy Ryder really well. His fend off is scary good. And the way he was feeding off other players like Robbie Gray, that fantastic goal in the third quarter, which put us in front, was amazing. The way he feeds off the defenders as well. And he's just all around the place, and he's just a ready-made AFL player. And for such a young 19-year-old or 18-year-old to be playing that sort of footy at your age and with the body you have, he's going to be a star, an absolute star. So keep an eye out for SPP throughout the next few weeks. It'll be interesting to see if they rest him at all, because he doesn't look like he's tiring at any stage. So SPP is a real tough maniac for me. Boak, Ebert and Pittard were very quiet last night. Ebert had a fantastic first quarter, but just went missing a little bit after that. And sure, it's one of his one-off games, but he still played pretty well. His tackling pressure was immense, so well done, Ebert. Boak, got a lift. You're captain, and in those types of games, we have players like Joel Sewell and Dangerfield lifting. We're looking to players to lift on the other side, and you got to be one of them. And as a captain, you really have to lift. And we needed the captain's goal or something like that, just to switch us on a bit more throughout the early stages of that game. So he'll pick up Boak, no doubt about it. But yeah, just keep an eye on that. Jasper Pittard was very quiet last night. 9 disposals. One of his worst games of the year so far. Has been brilliant since he came back from injury a few weeks ago. And now that he's come back, he was a little quiet last night, and they probably had someone on him. I'm not too sure. I wasn't really paying attention. But yeah, we missed his run a little bit, and he was pretty good on his foot when he had the ball, but we just didn't give it enough. So he'll bounce back, no doubt about that. But a bit quiet last night. Jared Pollock and Ollie Wines were our 2 best players last night, no doubt about that. They were fantastic in the middle. Jared Pollock in that last quarter, kicking that goal, was amazing. He's 32 possessions as well. Ollie Wines got back to amazing form, so he was brilliant last night too. So yeah, they were mainly the key points from the game I got. I mean, it's just, what can you say? I'm very disappointing, and it's just tough to take in such a close game and such a close loss when you know our team has to prove themselves, and we just couldn't get it done. So we move on to Hawthorn next week, back at home, back at the Fortress, which should be good. So anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to the things I learnt from round 10. The first thing I learnt was Jack Homsch is one of the best key defenders in the game at the moment for me. The bloke is an amazing defender. The way he held Hawkins to 1 goal last night. Some of the delivery from the Geelong players was fairly good, so you couldn't always control what Hawkins was doing. But wow, Jack Homsch just held him really well, and that's probably what kept us in the game. And our whole defensive group is amazing to see and amazing to watch. How good they are against other key defenders, and working well as a team as well, to get the ball out and to only keep Geelong to 81 points. And yes, we only scored 79 ourselves. Was very impressive, and our defence is obviously the best in the game in terms of stats. So continue that on. And Jack Homsch, he doesn't get recognised. Does not get recognised by the media at all. And he was sensational last night. The other thing I learnt was our Guernsey, Indigenous Guernsey, is one of the best ever. Nathan Cracker did an amazing job in designing it. And it looks so good on the black Guernsey. We've had white a few times over the last few years. And to have black for the first time in a while, and that design, oh, I'm buying one. That's all I can say. I'm buying one. I want one. So, well done, Nathan Cracker. That was fantastic. Fantastic design, and the boys look sensational in it. So it was a credit to you, mate. You did fantastic. And as I said, I'm going to buy one this week. So that was good. The final point I learnt. We are part of the conversation. Sorry, I've got my notepad here and I'm trying to read what I said. But I wrote this down at 11 o'clock last night and I can't read it. But we are part of the conversation now. Yeah, we're 5-4. Yeah, we're on the verge of dropping out of the 8. But that doesn't mean anything. The 4 teams we've lost to are the top 4. And we've shown to every single one of them that we are capable of staying with them. Geelong were pressing hard last night, and every time we got a little bit of opportunity, that's not English. Every time we got a little bit of an opportunity, we took it and we scored a goal. That's why we led it quarter time. It's what got us back into the game. Our pressure as well, which was immense throughout that third quarter, got us back into the game and kept us there. And it was just a great tussle. And for me personally, I put us and Geelong on about the same level. And I reckon if that game was at Adelaide Oval, we would have won. And I reckon we should have won anyway, but I've already talked about that. But yeah, we're definitely part of the conversation. And yeah, that will continue on for the rest of the year until, as I said, we don't want to drop the next 4. It takes us to 9-4, and that will really set us up for the rest of the year. I'm going to say we'll get about 15 wins with a run home, but it's hard to say. Let's hope we can keep our form together. Injuries don't have an impact either. It'll be a telling next month, that's for sure. So, moving on to the votes. Number 1, Paddy Ryder. Sensational last night. His ruck work was brilliant. It was good to see him. He's just really in form at the moment. And kicking out a telling goal to get us back into the match last night as well was amazing. Number 2, Ollie Wines, was brilliant. His disposal work and his grunt around the ball in the packs was brilliant. His pressure was amazing. It was good to see him get back to form. And 3 votes goes to Jared Pollock. I don't think he's played a better game this year. And it was good to see him getting back to his 2014 best. He gets 3 votes, 32 possessions, a telling goal in the last quarter. Jared Pollock, definitely our best player last night. That's another review done. Thank you very much for watching, Port fans. Disappointment, sure. But we can move on to next week at Adelaide Oval. Hopefully we'll see you there against Hawthorn. So we're wearing our Indigenous Guernsey too next week. So a special celebration. Get out to the ground. Pack the house. Let's do it. Thanks guys. My name's Anthony. Go on the pair.